Yeah.
I think you left it in there.
You love my story, man?
There was a lunch bag in
Do you
there.
like my story? I love your story. You clicked through it. It was a salad bowl. It was huge. That hurts my feelings, Dan.
What?
What'd you think of that quiz today?
Are you?
It was easy.
I work. What'd you think of the quiz?
It's easy.
Easy?
Yeah.
Did you get the bonus?
No.
I don't know.
Yes.
I came in late,
I
so.
watched for Pam. I watched the movie. In case there's any kids around, I don't want to give them a bad night. Heck. Heck. Oh, heck. No! Oh, I give you 2 hands now. Where's the link at? What are we're supposed to find one. Yeah. What are you playing? Just one? Just give the main idea.
Oh, you yelled at your friend for telling me that you mentioned her.
I like you.
He doesn't even eat it.
We don't have I'm not we don't have a test today. Who?
Oh.
Sorry. We don't have a test. We don't have a test today.
What did you tell her?
Whoa!
Why'd you tell me you didn't say anything? Gonna yell at her again?
That was uncalled for.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh,
John, you couldn't even need to.
Like my story?
That was
I
disgusting.
could totally one up you.
Never doing that again.
Are you sitting at the door?
You
I
could not. That was 3/4 of box of cereal.
Syllables aren't even that big. Shriek.
Syllables are huge.
Give me a mixing bowl. I got all of it. You can't hear out of his right ear. You can't hear out of his right ear. His right ear is broken.
Can I say a prayer? Close that door for us. Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Hail Mary.
Full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death.
so. All right, I asked you last night to look at the research, see if you can find anything, well, enlightenment ideas in the Declaration of Independence and the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen. All right, anybody want to add anything that they may have come across? It's all over the documents. What, Russ?
The Declaration of Independence mentions a lot there about life, liberty, pursuit of happiness.
Okay, natural rights. Good. And both do, really, but yes, you're absolutely right. What else?
In the Declaration of Independence, it said a government can like grow a lot of power, but it wouldn't be a legitimate one, and it wouldn't be able to rule the people, and people would be able to overthrow the government.
Okay, the people have the right to overthrow their government if their government is not looking and you know, conducting things in their best interest. Good. What else?
It says that, like, in the French one, it says law can only prohibit actions that are harmful to the society. They can't, like, do, like, the natural rights, or, like, they can't take away your natural rights.
Good. Nick?
In the French document, it says all men are born equal and remain free equal, and that's what the Enlightenment thinkers thought.
Yeah, natural. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we're going to look at short video on the Declaration of Rights of Man and Citizen. What's up? You what?
You make me uncomfortable.
Why is that?
I don't know.
He's good.
It's a weird thing to say.
You know it does look nice. I agree with that.
Students,
I don't.
in this segment, I'm going to talk to you about the Declaration of the Rights of Man and the Citizen. If you've been watching my French Revolution series, which hopefully you have been, then we've been through the French Revolution of 1789. We've gone over the old regime. We've looked at the failed meeting of the Estates General. We've looked at some of the activities of the National Assembly, but I didn't talk in detail about the Declaration of the Rights of Man and the Citizen, which is a major document having to do with the French Revolution. And I think that this document really has a lot to say about both what the French revolutionaries were looking for in 1789, and it kind of foreshadows, in a way, where the revolution is going to go. Thank you, Kristen, for just asking for this video at just the right time, right after I kind of figured out just how I want to teach it. And let's go ahead and go into it. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and the Citizen was passed by the National Assembly on August 26, 1789. And this really laid out what it was, the Declaration of the Rights of Man and the Citizen. We're taking France, which had been an absolute monarchy, and for the first time, we are outlining a plan for constitutional government and principles of constitutional government based on the natural rights of man, and for people not just being subjects of a king, but citizens of a nation. Now, in order to understand this, I think that you really have to look at the influencers, like who is really influencing the Declaration of the Rights of Man and the Citizen. Now, first, I'm going to call your attention to Thomas Jefferson, who was the author of the U.S. Declaration of Independence, very much a crusader for liberty, and also at the time, the U.S. ambassador to France. So he would have been in contact with some of the people who were writing this document. But we also have to take into account the Enlightenment philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who was a Frenchman. Now, while Jefferson was a classical liberal and in all cases really a champion of individual rights and seeing government more than anything as, kind of like this Lockean construct of protecting natural rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, while Jefferson is a classical liberal, and we're going to get that voice, this classical liberal emphasis on the individual, Rousseau is going to place some emphasis on not only individualism, but also what I may refer to as radical democracy. That is focused on government as an instrument of the general will. So what we're going to see here in the Declaration of the Rights of Man and the Citizen is kind of a dialogue between Jefferson, the champion of individual rights, and Rousseau, who in a lot of ways symbolizes the general will and that form of government as far as an upholder of majority rule. Now, some people refer to Rousseau as a sort of...
What does that say? What do they mean by comparing Jefferson and Rousseau? Whereas Jefferson is a champion of individual rights, and Rousseau champions the general will of the people, even going as far as to call him a proto-socialist. What do you think the differences are between those two perspectives?
Jefferson was just thinking of like the rights of every individual, like every individual man, like what they needed, and Rousseau was thinking of what the entire population, like what they would want.
Yeah, and what issues come between these two perspectives? Why are they very different?
Wouldn't like taxes have anything to do with that? Like
Well, taxes are, Rousseau does talk about the duties of the individuals in society as a whole, and part of those duties would be paying taxes, both as a societal and an individual duty, So that would be both very important.
Rousseau was talking more about obviously both of them talk about like unity, but Rousseau was more like an entire consolidated, united effort, and Jefferson was talking about not something that was united, but not exactly as consolidated and like well sharing as Rousseau was talking about.
Okay, yeah. Jefferson champions individual rights, life, liberty, property. Rousseau still thinks they're important, but he puts the good of the general people more so over that, over the individual, benefit of the whole society, and in an individual's social contract with society.
Of proto-socialist. Now, people who are really familiar with Rousseau say that this is based on a very simplistic reading of Rousseau, that people who say this don't really understand Rousseau. But then you would ask yourself, what about the people writing this document? Were they necessarily big-time Rousseau scholars, or were they people who had a casual interest and picked and chose what was best for them and what fit their program? And I think you're going to look at the latter. So at this point, let's go ahead and look at the document, and let's see when we see Jeffersonian individualism.